Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. 15th of June 1941 was a very busy day in the Syria and Lebanon campaign. The Vichy French were putting up very strong resistance, which led to some interesting aerial clashes, including a battle between RAF Gladiators and Vichy French Dewatines. Check out our previous video for details. But while the Gladiators were fighting Vichy fighters, the Hurricanes of 80 Squadron faced a rather different enemy. They were busy providing air cover for the Royal Navy's 15 Cruiser Squadron, which in turn was providing fire support for the Australian troops advancing on the ground. Once again, the British ships were attacked by Junkers Ju-88s of 2nd Gruppe Leergeschwader 1, based on Crete. It was late afternoon and one of the RAF pilots patrolling over the Royal Navy ships was Roald Dahl, the famous author of children's literature such as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. 9 Junkers 88s were intercepted as they were dive bombing the ships. This time, the German bombers achieved some success, hitting the destroyer ISIS. The unfortunate destroyer did not sink, but it had to be towed to Haifa. Roald Dahl claimed to have shot down one of the bombers into the sea. The Royal Navy confirmed this claim, as well as reporting that a second bomber crashed near Cyprus and a third force landed in Syria. This does not match the German records, which only show one Ju-88 forced landing in Turkey after being badly damaged, possibly by Dahl. Even as the German bombers cleared the area, the 15th Cruiser Squadron was not safe. That morning, Vichy air power had been reinforced by a French naval unit, the Aéronaval Escadrille 6B, equipped with Martin 167s. 3 of these bombers were ordered to attack the Royal Navy ships off the Lebanese coast, and they took off at 6:40 p.m. The naval bombers were joined in their task by 4 more Leo 451s of GB-112, while 6 MS-406s and 7 Dewatines provided fighter cover. Once again, the Royal Navy ships suffered damage. This time it was the destroyer Ilex that was hit by a French Navy Martin 167, flown by Lieutenant de Vaisseau Ortolan. Ortolan claimed to have sunk the destroyer, but just like ISIS, Ilex survived. More French attacks on the Royal Navy ships followed. One of the bombers was badly damaged and another slightly damaged. These may have been confused with the German bombers, resulting in the previously mentioned Royal Navy report, which does not match the German records. In fact, the Royal Navy initially believed that all the attacks on their ships on that date had been carried out by the Germans. As a consequence of these anti-shipping operations, the 15th Cruiser Squadron abandoned its permanent presence off the Lebanese coast and pulled back to Haifa, returning only when necessary and under heavy fighter cover. About 1 hour after the German bombing attack, 5 Martin bombers of Vichy French GB-139 ran out of luck. While attacking targets in the Dahl area, they were spotted by 7 RAF Tomahawks of No. 3 Squadron, which were themselves engaged in strafing. The Australians immediately attacked, shooting down 2 of the French bombers. The victories were claimed by squadron leader Peter Jeffrey and flying officer Peter Turnbull. 1 French crew led by Lieutenant Baron survived and were captured. The other crew, whose pilot was Sergeant-Chef Jacques Tanchou, sadly perished in the crash. The next day, 16th of June 1941, saw a night raid on Ryak airfield by RAF Blenheims, the first of its kind, as well as French attacks against Commonwealth motorized columns and an attack against the H-4 airbase in Transjordan. This attack, however, missed the main base and instead mistakenly struck an abandoned landing strip, some 20 kilometers east of H-4. Still keen to defend Syria and Lebanon, the Vichy French were not only sending aerial units to join the fight, but also warships. 3 destroyers were en route to Syria from Toulon, but they were spotted by a Sunderland flying boat on the 15th. The next morning, as they came within 25 miles of the Syrian coast, they were attacked by a flight of 6 Swordfish biplanes of 815 Squadron from Cyprus. Sub-Lieutenant Wise was successful, torpedoing the French destroyer Chevalier Paul, which sank the next morning with 6 dead and 9 wounded. One of the Swordfish bombers was hit by defensive fire, and its crew was captured. "17th of June 1941 saw no aerial clashes, although the bomber units were very active. Soon after midnight, 3 Blenheims of 11 Squadron took off for another night raid, this time against Homs. However, as they were forming up over their base, 2 of the Blenheims collided and crashed in flames. The lead aircraft nevertheless proceeded with the mission. The end of the day saw the arrival of 7 more Martin 167s, this time from Escadrille 7B, which joined its sister unit at Majaloun. This was another episode on the poorly known World War II campaign in Syria and Lebanon. The next one will again feature aerial clashes between the venerable Gloucester Gladiators and the French Dewoitines. If you want to see these final gladiator battles in RAF service, be sure to let us know in the comments. And in the meantime, keep watching Showtime 112.